Hello everybody, in today's video I want to talk about the character I think is the most likely to be free in about 3 patches from now. Now the reason I feel like making a video on this is because, as you guys know if you've been playing this game long enough, ever since 3.2 this game has been consistently releasing free limited 5 stars, either through additions in the golden token shop, either through fake collab characters, or through just literally new original characters, right? This happened in 3.2 with the golden token shop and a golden token being given for free, meaning a lot of people claimed Ruan Mei. Then in 3.4, Archer was free. In 3.6, Don Hung was free. And then in 4.0, there was even a selector with some older units, even including Nova Sparkle, which was the main prize among these. And of course, 4.2 also had a golden token with additions to the shop being Huohuo and Robin, and 4.4 also has Archer for free again, but this time with the ability to select Gilgamesh if you'd prefer that, right? So, given this game's consistent free 5-star releases, it is highly likely that there is one in either 4.6 or in 4.7, and a lot of people have their own opinions on what this free character may be. My own chat has said decently often that even if it's not realistic, they really hope for Pearl to be free so that at least one Elation teammate is free from Silverwolf's team, making it a lot more accessible, similar to Himiko's, because currently, even though Himiko isn't necessarily game breaking or anything, the massive advantage that she has over, let's say, Silverwolf's team is that currently 2 of her best supports are free to play characters that don't require limited pulls, right? So it just makes her that much more enticing for people who aren't trying to spend literally every last dime they have on their accounts to build a new team. However, I am of a differing opinion. In my opinion, there's one character that would be even greater value for a majority of people's accounts if they became free, and the one that I just straight up think is the most likely, and this is Sunday Nova, right? Now, pre-Sparkle Nova and pre-Sparkle being free, I would have thought that this shit is absolutely heinous, because it is likely that if Sunday gets his Nova, that he will be the best hyper carry action advancing buffer in the entire game again. He already was, then Nova Sparkle came around and took it from him. However, he'd just come back and take this title as well back from Sparkle once he gets his Nova Flare, because even though Sparkle's skill point gen is an incredible QOL and useful across a ton of teams, the reality is a majority of teams these days just don't suffer from SP issues unless they were built around having SP issues. For example, Dill, for example, Archer, for example, Sparksy, right? But there is a significant amount more of DPSs who can take very high advantage of an energy regen support. This is the entire reason why Huohuo, in my opinion, has been the best aging generalist sustain in the entirety of the game, even if we don't include her Nova. It wasn't necessarily that she was this absolutely game-breaking support that the game's balance wasn't ready for, but just that being an energy support is incredibly universal across a multitude of teams, because it's not something that's just stuck to, let's say, attack scalers. You as well have a ton of energy scalers, HP scalers, such as Hyacine, such as Evernight. These two are HP scalers, but they still love energy, right? Now, I'm not saying to run Huohuo with them, but you kind of get the point. Energy is just an incredibly useful buff across the board, which would make Sunday that much more valuable, in my opinion, if he receives a Sparkle level Nova, because he now has good action advance. His buffs last a turn longer in comparison to Sparkle's. He has energy regen capabilities. Unlike Sparkle, whose big buffing Eidolon is locked behind her E2, his is behind his E1, making it much more accessible. So you can kind of see why Sunday being free would be so potent and powerful. However, would they make him free? In my opinion, yes. He's one of the #1 contenders in the game for being free. The reason I say this is Hoyo doesn't necessarily need to make money on Sunday anymore. He has already had 3 banners, right? Either 3 banners total or 4 banners total with 3 reruns. So he has had some of the most banner runs in comparison to the other top tier banner runners in this game, such as, let's say, Robin and as well as Tribby. Right? He's up there. They've already made a shit ton of money off of this guy, and a ton of accounts own him. So making him free wouldn't actually cost them all that much. However, the main point of this for them is they still want to make money in some way. And just as I explained earlier, Novaing Sunday and giving him for free would be absolutely massive for a majority of teams in this game. And this matters because it means you are more likely to invest into a new team that can use Nova Sunday because of the fact that he is now given to you for free and an opportunity cost has arisen, right? For example, let's say even though Himiko Nova has an incredibly cheap team, you're not completely confident that you're going to be able to say she's worth it because she has after sales supports and you don't know how good Sunday Nova is. But then you see Sunday Nova is good. You see he is best in slot for Himiko, and most importantly of all, you see you can even claim this guy for free. Now, you will be significantly more likely to actually pull for Himiko and pull for her full team, since this gives you a third team for much cheaper than usual, and it's at incredibly high performance, and you got Sunday for free, right? This is the logic that Hoyo uses quite often when Nova flaring characters, because let's be honest, they're not going to make that much money off of Firefly since she's already had a ton of rerun banners, and a ton of people who have invested into her before already have her E2 and E6. So why did they Nova flare Firefly? Because they know if they Nova flare Firefly, there's a high chance that the Firefly lovers will then go the extra mile to spend for Dahlia. Right? And this way they do make some money out of it. This is just how Hoyo thinks. A Nova Sunday can go in a Himiko team. He can go in a Dill team. He can go in a Jin Yuan team. He can go in a Saber and Gilgamesh team. This man can go in nearly every team in the entirety of the game. And double action advancer core with Nova Sparkle and Nova Sunday, and if both of them are free, will make a lot more people interested in certain teams. Even Phanon. This would probably also be a Phanon upscale, especially if his E1's defense shred gets reworked to no longer have a restriction on it. It would be Nova Sparkle and Nova Sunday who are among the best teammates for Phanon to have in his team for his best clears, right? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you disagree? Do you agree? Do you think Nova Sunday is likely to be one of the next free limited characters? Or do you think it's someone else and that Nova Sunday might be a little too promising and good for them to make him free? If they didn't give Nova Sparkle for free, then I would have probably held that same opinion. However, because Nova Sparkle was given for free, despite how strong they made her and how highly valuable she is meta-wise and even just generally, in my opinion, I think it's likely they just repeat this exact same thing with Sunday in 4.6, and a lot more people get enticed into pulling certain teams because they now have this free, strong Sunday on their account, and that makes the game more money, and it makes the players happier because they got another free generalist support on their account, right? Now, I'm not saying that Sunday might necessarily be the only one who's free here. They could redo the way Sparkle's 4.0 selector worked, where there's other options. For example, let's say like Fei Shao, there's Fugue in there, there's Ling Sha, right? They could do stuff like that on the selector instead of it just being Sunday. But it would be very similar to a Nova Sparkle situation where, let's be honest, you're obviously going to go for the one that got Nova flared, and it's probably the new strongest hypercarry action advancer in the game state, right? You're not really going to be going for much else. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have a great night. Peace out.